Hi, my name is Jimmy Nguyen, and this is my diverse story. My whole life story really has been about diversity. I'm an immigrant, a racial minority, and openly gay. And oh yeah, I'm left-handed too. I would always joke that on the demographic charts and boxes, if only I was a lesbian, I could check off gender as well. So my story has been always about feeling different. My family is from Saigon, South Vietnam. I actually was born there. And my family fled the night before Saigon fell to North Vietnamese Communist forces in April 1975. And with help from the US government, we settled here into Southern California. My father, who was once a prominent judge and wielded justice from a court bench in Vietnam, got his first American job as an orderly in a nursing facility. My mom was a seamstress in a big giant sewing factory, and I would go with her to the grocery store as a kid and watch her buy groceries with food stamps. And we would pile our whole family, 6 or 7 of us, into a car that was a beat-up old Ford Pinto to go to church every Sunday. So growing up in America was kind of tough for me at the time in the 70s and 80s. There were not a lot of kids who looked like me in school. There weren't a lot of Asians, and there weren't any Asian faces on television that I'd see in media. Back in the 80s, Dynasty and the Colbys was the big soap opera on TV, and I always wanted to be like Steve Carrington or Jeff Colby on those shows, except I didn't have blonde feathered hair. I had, Asian straight hair cut into the typical Asian bowl cut. And I didn't see a lot of people like me out there. And then if struggling with racial identity were not enough, one day I wake up and realize I'm gay, and then had to deal with the challenges of addressing my sexual orientation while being raised in a traditional Asian American household and dealing with those cultural issues that were internal to me. And it took me until my 30s, frankly, to actually officially come out to my parents. And that was a long time, which is ironic, given that I love speaking out today about how all of us can speak up for who we are. And then in my career as a lawyer, which I've been doing for about 18 years now, I found that I was spending too much time trying to fit into the mold of everything else in a profession that was still and is still dominated by straight white men. But then one day I woke up and realized that who you are, everything about you, your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, your heritage, it's what makes you unique and what makes you powerful. And that led me to find diversity organizations to become part of, to help lead, such as the California Minority Council program, California's leading legal diversity organization. I got really active with that and other organizations, and now help voice the need for all of us to embrace what's unique about us and use that to our advantage. So that's why diversity has been so critical to my life and why I speak up about shining who you are. My diverse story came full circle about 8 years ago. That's when I went back to Vietnam for the first time. It was a really emotional journey, actually, not just a typical vacation. In Saigon, I found my parents' house from many years ago. And their same next-door neighbor was still there. He came out, he took one look at me, and he said, "You were the baby." And that was really powerful because in that moment I realized, yeah, I was that baby. I was that baby who grew up in that house a lifetime ago. But it was so fortunate to be given a new life here in America where I get to succeed, where I get opportunities, and where I get to embrace achievement by just being me and living my own life story and getting to share that with other people. So for all of you out there, think about what your diverse story is and figure out how you can tell it to help other people. I'm Jimmy Nguyen, and that's my diverse story.